Greetings, royal queens and kings. It's your host, Queen Tulsa, and welcome back to the Queen Tulsa Show. Is Jay Z, Meg, and Rock Nation falling apart? Shocking inside scoop. In this video, we delve into the ongoing sexual harassment lawsuit involving Megan Thee Stallion and a former cameraman, which has recently gained traction following a judge's ruling. The court has decided that the case will proceed, much to the delight of Nicki Minaj, who is publicly referred to the situation as karma with a capital K. Join us as we both join us as we explore the details of the lawsuit, the implications for both artists, and the reactions from the hip hop community. Stay tuned for insights and analysis on this developing story. Listen here, we have our favorite, America's favorite. Yes, America's favorite is definitely here. We have our co-host here. We have Miss Lisa Real Spill, and guess what? You can definitely check out her channel in the description. Without further ado, Miss Lisa, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
Hey,
How you doing, sis?
how you doing? I'm amazing. Listen, Miss Lisa, tell the
Mhm.
people, girl, we were having a little situation earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, it was a whole situation, honey. We were
Yes.
trying to get on each other's schedule. We were trying to like find a equal base. Where can we meet at? Okay.
Right.
Listen, but we're here.
But we're here. That's
We are
right.
here.
That's all that matters. We're here.
Yes. So, Miss Lisa, go ahead and let the people know who you are and what we are going to be doing today.
Okay. Of course, I am Lisa's real spill. And what we're going to be doing tonight is really spitting some real over here. Okay. Um. Now, my sister got everything together for us as far as what we're going to talk about. Okay. But it's going to be a good show tonight. We going we gonna get gut level honest about our opinion. And this is what I say about opinions. Opinions are like a-holes. We all have one, but it's just our opinion. Doesn't make it true, doesn't make it false. It's just our opinion. Okay? So with that being said, take us on, sis.
Absolutely. And opinions are not facts, in the words of our good sister, Couture Bay. And you guys make sure you get on over there and watch Couture Bay. She has been definitely giving us the content. She has definitely been giving us non-biased and, just filling us in with the seed of what we have not been paying attention to. Now, speaking of not paying attention to things, we want to send out prayers to those that are in Texas that were affected by the floods.
Right.
There was a flood at the wasn't it like a Christian camp?
I think so.
Yeah, it
I,
was like a
I know
Christian
it's a
camp.
bad one. It was a bad one.
Yeah.
Because
So we're gonna say
I
that one more
caught,
time.
I caught one where the man lost his parents. He called his brother, told his brother go see about his mother. He said it took his brother like 7 minutes to get over there, and the flood had wiped them all out.
Oh no.
With little houses, tiny houses or something,
Uh-huh.
and the flood had cleaned it out, and they
Mm.
still haven't found their mother and father yet. Last time I checked, they still haven't found their mother and father yet. Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? There was one where I saw this woman, her father, he was on like hospice,
Mm-hmm.
and it was shocking. It was very shocking. Um this woman, her dad, he was like in his chair. I mean, like in like a hospital bed.
Mm-hmm.
He was like in a hospital bed, and I really felt bad for him and many others. But they said that that town over there, it had already they knew that it would be it was pretty much a flood zone. And so I guess now they're going to rebuild it and make it like a futuristic. They want it to be like futuristic. I don't know how true that is, but that's just word on the curve. But let's go ahead and take a listen to this live video from a news outlet. It says 119 unalived, more missing in Central Texas floods.
Right now, first responders are working tirelessly to find the more than 160 people who are still missing after flooding in Central Texas. At least 119 people have been killed. We also just learned among the top items in a special session, Governor Greg Abbott is calling for improved flood warning systems and for state funding to go toward relief efforts. Let's get live out to Cynthia Izaguirre, who is at Camp Mystic tonight, which is a focal point of the devastation. Izzy, what are things like there? Well, Dia, the best way to describe where we are is that this is sacred ground. First responders have been working around the clock in grueling conditions to find the missing, starting right here at Camp Mystic, where there are still 5 children and 1 counselor unaccounted for. I'm going to step out of the way so that our photographer, Josh Beebe, can give you a better look at what's behind me. Those are the cabins where the little girls were staying when catastrophic flooding happened on Friday. I'm told many of them were on mattresses held up by counselors standing in water up to their necks. Tragically, many girls were swept away. First responders here told me others who survived did so by climbing the hill behind the cabins. As you see now, their toys, blankets, everything first responders pulled out of the cabins lay here on the grass for family members to come and collect. Today, Kerrville police said there are so many stories of tragedy and also stories of heroes. One patrol sergeant woke up and coordinated an effort to rescue people right here in the community of Hunt.
He went to another detective, Kerrville Police Department detective who lives out there, and he woke him up and he said, "It's bad. I need you to get your gear on and come find me." And then he went back out. And for 13 hours, those 2 officers, along with some Hunt volunteer fire department firefighters and an emergency room doctor, provided care to that Hunt community.
Our Tiffany Liu is in Kerrville tonight, where she has talked with many survivors who described firsthand the nightmare flooding.
Yeah, and Izzy, those many survivors, they've all told me they are just so grateful to be alive, but they are truly, truly hurting for those families that are still missing loved ones. And there are so many families out there. Time and time again, I've been hearing from neighbors that they are just incredibly shocked that this whole thing happened.
As the storm rushed through Friday morning,
You'll never believe it.
Cindy Smith was home in Ingram when she heard a constant roar.
By the time we get up to the rocks, it's already, all of that debris is already coming this way.
She lives on higher ground.
That little bent, gnarled sign down there, that was my marker. I kept watching.
But immediately worried for those closer to the Guadalupe River.
If the water is here right now, what happened to those people down there?
That's when Cindy picked up her phone and saw 6 missed calls. No voicemails, no texts.
That's where my daughter-in-law and my son were.
She didn't hear from them for hours.
I got teary-eyed and my heart started to pound and my hands were sweaty.
Around 7 hours later, relief came.
Somebody on staff at the hospital let him use their phone.
Her son and daughter-in-law floated on their mattress until they were forced out of their apartment by the violent currents. She says they clung onto a pillar for hours until the water resided.
You know, once it got dark last night, everyone was afraid to go to sleep. What will happen while we're sleeping?
Okay, so we'll stop right there. So what are your thoughts? What are your opinions? We do have I'm Enough in the building. I'm Enough. Bring your avatar alive. Miss Lisa, what are your thoughts?
Whew. Oh, it's breathtaking. It's Like you just don't know what to say. It's one of those moments where you just don't know what to say. You know. Um, I do want to ask the question though. For I want to ask a question just to everybody. Do y'all think that's something that's happening that just happened, or do y'all think it's something greater going on?
You know what?
When I when I say, let me explain that a little bit. Let me explain a little bit so everybody
Okay,
I
go
think
ahead and elaborate. Come on now.
uh what I'm saying is that it's a lot going on in the world, right? A lot. And everything is not the government, okay? Some things, there's a creator who has his hand on this earth, and it's a lot of wickedness going on. And because of the wickedness that's going on, the earth needs to be cleansed. Okay? We can't keep going like this with the world the way it is. So, biblically, the earth has to be cleansed, and it will be. Okay? So, what I'm asking y'all is that do y'all think that that's just something that happened? Or do you think there's a force greater than us that's just doing what's needed to be done? What do y'all think?
Well, when we think about okay, you said drop the link. Okay, well when you say I feel like it is definitely spiritual.
Okay.
I feel like giants that were up there and they felt like they were bigger than the world. I think, God is really like strutting his muscle and saying, I am very jealous and I've been seeing you all worship these other celebrities, these other individuals, and putting them before thee. And now he's coming back to resurrect and remind people that, he gave us this land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is our legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not holding not only ourselves accountable, but we are trying to hold everybody else accountable when we could be making a difference.
Right.
We do have I'm enough in the building. So, Miss Lisa, I'll go ahead and ask you to just repeat that question for I'm enough. But I'm enough before Miss Lisa asks the question. Go ahead and let the people know who you are, what you're here for, and how you're going to lay it down on this Thursday, July 10th, 2025 at 12:28 a.m. Central Time.
Well, what's up, Queen? How you
Hello.
doing?
I'm
well,
well yourself.
huh?
I said I'm well in yourself.
Well, Queen. I haven't
And
too
then we
long
have
got
Miss
in,
Lisa here
so
as well.
how you doing, Miss Lisa?
Finding yourself.
Oh haven't too long got in and got myself together, so you know what I'm saying. I'm here to do like we do, talk the real stuff and speak the real things.
All right. All right. All right.
All right. So Miss Lisa, go ahead and answer the question that you just asked me.
Okay. The things that happen in Texas, do you think that there's a force greater than us that's happening? Or do you think it's something else?
Um, I think some things we just don't have control over, but I think things do happen, for a reason or whatnot. Um, whether we understand it or not or whatever. But I definitely believe um, that there is a greater power or whatnot. But I feel like um, things happen, and sometimes things happen for we have to get ourselves together. because we don't never know what life brings us, and we just have to be ready for whatever comes. So I feel like, I mean, things happen.
Okay. I feel the same. I feel like there's a force greater than us. And I feel like God is trying to tell us, get it together. Like basically like what y'all was saying, get it together. Stop procrastinating, you know, repent. Because see, some people think that you repent, but then you can go back to those living that life of sin, right? But at some point, you have to repent and you have to start walking righteously also, right? And us as being God's children, right? The chosen children, we really, really, really got to put it together because we supposed to represent, basically. At least that's how I feel. That's how I see it. Oh, I feel like we supposed to represent because we were chosen. We was his chosen children. And I feel like a lot of, some of us are really, we don't really look at that as a serious thing, as serious as it is, right? We don't look at it serious enough. And some of us are still choosing to walk righteous, but walk in sin. You can't do both. You cannot do both. You either going to walk in sin or you're going to walk righteously. You know what I'm saying? And I think some people really don't know how serious that is. Yes, he will allow us to repent, but we cannot keep going back to our, living in sin after we keep repenting. And then we turn around and we go back to living in sin. Because eventually, that's where you never know. Like you say, none of us know when our time is up. So you can't keep playing seesaw because you never know when your time is up and you don't get a chance to repent again, you know? So I think people don't really pay attention to how serious that is, you know? So I just wanted to say that though, because sometimes we want to put it on, some of us want to put it on the government. We want to say the government did this, the government did that, you know? But some things are not the government. It's not the government. Some things it's going on. It's spiritual. And I don't think some people believe that. Some people don't really believe that that's what be going on, but it is.
Yeah,
And
I agree. I agree.
you know, so I just wanted to ask that question. You know, where everybody head was at. That's all.
Yes. I'm glad that you asked that question because now a lot of people are asking questions about Nicki Minaj,
Mm-hmm.
and her statements and what she's been talking about. Let's get into it. Nicki Minaj, is it me or is Jay, Meg, and Rock Nation crumbling? Shout out to TMZ. They reported on it.
Mm-hmm.
Megan Thee Stallion actual harassment lawsuit filed by a former cameraman is going forward, much to the approval of Nicki Minaj. The whole thing karma.
Mm.
Yes, with a capital K. Last week, a judge ruled Megan and Rock Nation couldn't drop the case after the cameraman supplied enough facts to
Mm.
keep the ball rolling, prompting a snarky response from Nicki. So it goes in to say, what was the name of the law again? Oh, Nicki Minaj had posted, what was the name of that law again? Karma's law. Touch not my anointed law. Vengeance is the Lord's law. We give God the glory, and He's only just begun.
Mm.
Have a blessed day if you can. LOL, the blogs posting lies. Thank you. More money for me. We're working. Trust. Now,
Mm.
I'm going to start right there. What are y'all thoughts on that?
Well. How I took it from listening to what you're saying. It's like, y'all done messed over me and messed over me, whatever, however the situation went. She didn't like it, and now stuff is really starting to unfold and hit the fan. And I'm a firm believer that what's done in the dark comes to the light. Whatever you do in the dark is coming to the light. It's gonna come to the light. You know, that's why my mother used to always tell us, if you out there doing stuff and you gotta be ashamed of it, you shouldn't be doing it. Because whatever's done in the dark comes to the light. And now this is unfolding. Okay? Because I didn't even know they were beefing. I didn't know they was beefing like that. Until this came about, you know. But I really think that, like you said, the big K, it always, hey, what you put out there definitely coming back. And it don't come back the same way you put it out there. It always come back worse than what you put out there. So I think that's what's happening now.
I totally agree. All right. So I am enough. What are your thoughts? Sound off.
Well, my thoughts are I laugh because everybody, we just got through talking about how, hey, what's going on, and, being pretty much, you never know how life's gonna end up or whatever, but everybody always want to use that, say that scripture, touch not my anointing and all that, but are you acting that way? Are you, you know what I'm saying? When it's something that happened to you, now you want to quote some stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, people do stuff how they do it, that's fine, but I just thought that was kind of, you know, they
So
throw
let
that,
me
they
ask.
throw those,
Oh,
huh?
sorry. No, 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 no. Go
No,
ahead. You finish.
no, no, no. I was good. You go ahead. I'm good.
I was gonna say, well, do you guys think that okay, so Megan Thee Stallion, she did make some comments about uh no, Nicki Minaj says something about Megan's Law, right? In a song. So she said something about Megan's Law, but I'm wondering, did Megan say anything about Nicki and her husband? You see what I'm saying? But then we got to take it a step further. There was, remember Beyonce and Nicki Minaj, they did that song Flawless and Feeling Myself. And, there was a title. Y'all remember Title when Jay-Z had come out with Title? So, from what my sources are saying is, um, Jay Z didn't give Nicki Minaj a fair share of cash when he had sold the company, right? And so that's why she is feeling a certain type of way because it's like, I'm a talented woman. I work with your wife, and then I'm trying to do business with you. Why do you have to interrupt it with bad business? What are y'all thoughts on that? Sound off.
I totally agree with that. Now I agree with that right there. Because from the sound of it, it sounds like he was supposed to give her a certain amount of that. It's like they must have went in on it together or something. And when he sold it, he didn't give her what he was supposed to give her. You know? And like I say, but it's been a lot of buzz going around about Jay being a crooked businessman. You know what I mean? Like I done heard quite a few buzz. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard quite a few buzz about him not being, the businessman he claimed to be, you know. So I don't know. I hope that she get her money though. If that's the case, I hope she get it.
Yeah.
If she do to get it, I hope she gets it. You see what I'm saying? Because evidently he must have been ignoring her or something. Because all this time I didn't hear her really say nothing about this until now. So evidently he's been ignoring her or brushing her off or something. Like he trying to avoid paying her. So now she letting it all out. And I don't blame her.
All right, I'm enough. What are your thoughts?
Well, I definitely agree. Whatever's old ties is old ties. Business is business. So, I mean, I totally agree. Um, Now she's speaking up, and she deserves her justice. He needs to pay up.
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree.
All right, so I want y'all to take a look at this footage right here. This is actually Jay Z. This is like at the. It looks like a back of a concert, like in the halls and stuff. But was Jay Z caught on video punching a 12-year-old fan? That's the title. That's Jay Z. Just look at the men that are around and that are just look. You see these men? You see
Wow.
what he's doing to that and that girl? What is this man doing? What is this man doing? Minding his own business. What is this dude doing? He's right up close. Why didn't nobody step in and help?
Right.
Yeah,
That's what.
that's how they do.
Yeah.
That's how they do. They don't step in and help out. They don't do that. They don't do nothing. They just stand
Yeah.
around and look
And
instead
you
of
want me?
holding him accountable. Instead of holding him accountable
Mm-hmm.
for what he's doing, they just sitting there letting it go on. So they just as
Guilt.
guilty as he is for doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like that's even worse because you letting them do it.
Yeah.
You're like it's okay.
And you know what? I'm like I was talking about that earlier. How people want to turn the other cheek when it's not happening to them. You know, people sitting and looking why it's going on to somebody else with somebody else. But then if it happens to you, it's a totally different ball game. And when it comes to that industry, it's like everybody turns the blind eye. Nobody has anything to say about what's going on. It's like everybody ignores stuff. And a lot of people not speaking up because they scared they might get blackballed or they won't get their chance, you know. So they'll rather let something go and play like they didn't see it than to speak up. Because I feel as though even if you got to stand alone, stand for what's right, even if you got to stand alone. Because sometimes that's how it have to be. Sometimes you got to stand alone. But long as you know you right at what you're standing for, that's all that should matter. The heck with the
I agree.
industry and what kind of money they giving out and all that. Because most of that stuff is not right anyway. I wouldn't want to have that dirty money. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't want that dirty money because most of it is dirty money. It's not clean. And so that's what I'm talking about. But everybody is sit there and let stuff happen and act like they didn't see nothing. But when
Yeah,
it
but
comes
check this
knocking at
out.
your door, it's a totally different ball game.
But check this out. The news report says as Mr. Carter walks into the room, he has a rather irritated look upon his face. What was he irritated about? What was he bothered about? And without hesitation, lashes out at an unidentified female in the video. The video is brief but shows a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This was in 2004. Hip Hop DX reported on this.
Wow.
And he's
So you
such.
mean to tell me? So
Oh,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. So you mean to tell me that was a female that he hit?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
that's even. I mean, it shouldn't even be a male, but that's even worse. All those guys sit around there and just watch him. He don't know. What you say? A 12-year-old?
Uh-huh. Just a
And
fan.
he's not a fan.
A fan.
See, he's not held accountable. Like Lisa said, like until it happened to them, then Jay Wilson. Until it happens to you, it's not important to you or somebody in your family or whatever the case. But the fact is, these are a whole bunch of people,
Mhm.
guys at that, standing around, allowing him. And we're gonna say this: if it's about getting your chance and getting the money, like the Bible says, for the love of money is the love of money. You know what I'm saying? Like you rather risk somebody getting hurt instead of helping them and holding someone accountable. You looking
Mhm.
up to somebody like that? So that shows what kind of person you are for not standing. If you don't fall for something, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
That's right.
So it's like all of them are followers. They're not leaders. You see what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like they're following him, and he the only leader there because they're on there watching him actually just put his hands on a 12-year-old fan, and nobody is holding him accountable at all. Nobody's stopping it. Nobody's saying that to him or whatever the case may be. So I think that's a poor thing for a fan, for the guys to just be standing around. That shows a lot of character about them, who they are. Because I feel
Yep.
like if you just sit around there and allow that, especially and it's a female at that, like see those kind of things are damaging. Could be damaging to her even at that age. Not only is she's a fan, but she like his music. He's a guy. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot that can fall into that. So it's just those are my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like they're not holding. They didn't hold him accountable. They're just as guilty, even though they didn't put their hands on him. They're just as guilty because they sat there and allowed it, and they didn't stand up for her. They didn't have her back. They didn't, you know what I'm saying, protect her or anything. So
Right.
those are my
So
thoughts.
check this out. So DJ Academics, he posted on X. He said the judge has denied Rock Nation and Megan the Stallion motion to dismiss a lawsuit where her homosexual cameraman claims the twerker forced him to watch her have a freak off car SCX with a woman inside a moving car while on tour in Ibiza, Spain in 2022. Judge Woods says the cameraman, who is gay, plausibly pleads that the alleged sexual encounter in the SUV in Libza created a hostile work environment based on plaintiff's sexual orientation. Megan Thee Stallion and Rock Nation can't dismiss cameraman's lawsuit over alleged car sex incident. A federal judge says a salacious lawsuit sets forth adequate discrimination and retaliation claims and can move forward. What was the name of that law again? Karma's Law, wrote Nicki Minaj in that subliminal post. The Megan's Law line, the Stallion used in her Nicki Minaj. Megan Thee Stallion used Megan Law. Wow, using her Nicki Minaj diss track, Hiss, last year. Nicki basked in the cameraman's Emilio Garcia legal victory so far. It was like her own, and then switched her sniper scope to Jay Z, something she's making a pattern of this year. Oh, now get into this. Jay Z is trending because the judge has granted Ramir's request to move forward with his case, and the judge has demanded Jay Z to respond to Ramir paternity lawsuit by July 18th on Wendy Williams' birthday. Listen here, that's Miss Wendy Williams' birthday. I want y'all to get into it. Did y'all know that?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know that was her birthday.
Uh huh.
No, I
Listen,
didn't know
Miss
I
Wendy
that.
Williams. Yeah, Miss Wendy Williams, and that's the reason why she's in the thumbnail, is because she's been telling us all along. She's been giving us the tea, right? She's been
right.
definitely giving us the tea, and the girls have been trying to move her aside. But let's get into it. So it says, wow, Rock Nation CEO Desiree Perez is allegedly abusive. Her daughter, Demarie, claims her mother held her against her will and was punching her. This is so sad. This is not the actions of a concerned mother. So I want to point this out as well. So now that we're right here with Jay Z and his son Ramir, okay, I'm gonna say his son because I feel like that's his son. Jay Z and his son Ramir, and then you got Desiree Perez. She was a federal informant. She's working with Jay Z and Rock Nation, right? Was
Right.
she there to give him the loops and the hoops to avoid any laws being broken and things like that? And then, oh Lord, it's a lot. But let me ask the panel, what are y'all thoughts? Sound off.
You want to go first?
I'm
Go ahead,
enough.
mom. Go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I ooh, I feel as though that boy belonged to him. I've been thought that. I've been thought that boy belonged to him. Do y'all remember the little girl? This a little off topic, but it does relate to this. Y'all remember the girl that came out that her and Blue Ivy favor? Do y'all remember her when she came out and said that Jay Z was her father?
I
Hmm.
do remember something like that.
Yeah, it was a girl that came out and they say he bought her house and gave her money and stuff. That's why we haven't heard anything from her.
Well, listen, they're saying the same thing about Ramirez. They're saying that Jay Z them allegedly paid them off, paid them to go away, and the people are speculating, hey, the money has ran out. Y'all need to fill our bank accounts back up and we can mind our business, or we can go ahead and take this to trial. And we
Well,
can
he
go
said,
ahead.
"Oh, that's not true." From what? Well, I don't know who lying, but from what Bermere, I hope I'm saying his name right. Bermere, what he's saying, he said he never received no payment from Jay Z. He said he didn't want no money from him. His mother told him that he was her father. That he was the boy's father. Okay, and he said he wanted to know if it was true or not. He said he didn't want no money or nothing from him. So he's saying he never got any money from Jay Z. So I don't know if that's true or not because he's saying he never got any money from him.
All right, I'm enough. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I feel the same way you I do. I mean, I feel the same way. It's just this is a whole lot of it's just a whole lot going on here.
Hmm.
There's a whole lot going on. But I totally agree with
But listen, when we look at this photo of Jay Z and this boy right here, when you look at the noses, like, yeah. When you look at the hairlines, yeah.
Hmm.
When you, I mean, even they're both tilting their head the same way in the photo, right?
Look how they smile. Look at them
Uh-huh.
lips, them soup cooler lips. Look
So
at the nose.
and then we have to take into consideration not only is he's got Jay Z's looks, but he also has his mother's looks. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
we always have to take that into consideration.
yeah, that's
You
true.
know, these are just observations. We're not saying anything is true,
Right.
but in my mind and in my heart, I feel like this is his son.
I do too. And I've been feeling like that. Not only that, look, why is he running? Okay, if you know that's not your baby, what you running for? That's what I don't
Exactly.
understand too. What you keep running for? If you know
you.
this baby not yours, I'm not gonna keep running. I'm gonna go in and take the test.
Some he knows something.
That's
Something got
right.
to be there.
And they saying that girl was only about 15 or 16 years old when Jay Z got his hands on her. That's another reason why he don't want it to come out because that girl was a teenager when he got his hands on her.
Well, listen, they were saying that he was with Foxy Brown back in the day, and she recently had come out and, was, saying no, 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 no. But I feel like this is the thing. Foxy hasn't, dropped an album or anything like that. We hadn't heard anything from her since like the last time that she was deaf, and now she's got her hearing back.
Right.
And I don't know, very, 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 very interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. So it says she also joined 50 Cent and Clown and Jay-Z's alleged paternity case that constantly festers on social media and took a swipe at Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez amid her family drama with her daughter. This isn't going to stop until Jay does off his mic or pays Nicki Minaj the $200 million she claims he owes her. Can the pink print bring the blueprint out of retirement? Oh, you know what? The pink print, the blueprint. It's making sense
Ah.
now.
Well, I'm kind of lost a little bit.
Well, you know, Jay Z has like the blueprint, right? His color is blue, hers is pink. And this is like, okay, so what she's saying is like the blueprint is full of bull ish. The pink print is, I mean, you gotta give Nicki Minaj her flowers. She put a lot of ladies on her remix or one song. She's actually done songs with the ladies and things like that. I just feel like these men keep these women in conflicts.
Yeah, yeah.
I do. I feel that way.
Now I know when people hear this, they gonna get upset with me. I already know, but I'm gonna say what I feel. I always felt like Cardi was brought on to try to knock Nicki out the box, but it didn't work. Listen, and the reason why I say that is because when Cardi came on the scene, why did she end up beefing with Nicki off the top, off the grit? It was other women. It was other women rappers out there. Why she didn't beef with them? Why she started beefing with Nicki off the grit? You see what I'm saying? So I always thought that allegedly, um, she was brought on to try to, try to knock her off her throne, but it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work out like they had planned it. Okay, that's just my opinion. This is an opinion. Um, and I never understood because I just never understood the beef. What was the beef about? Y'all didn't know each other. You was just coming on the scene. Why you beefing with this girl when you just coming on the scene? It just didn't make sense to me. It had to be something deeper, right? Because it didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense to me. Why they was beefing and you just coming on the scene. And I don't mean no harm. Everybody talking about how good Cardi a good rapper and all that. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I don't see what everybody else see.
All right.
I
Well, here, let's take a second right here to just reflect on who is the CEO over at Rock Nation. Former informer for U.S. government, Rock Nation CEO Desiree Perez, pardoned by Trump. Okay, so yeah, I want y'all to let that seep in. So she was pardoned by Trump. Among the flurry of 140 pardons and commutations issued by former President Trump on his last day in office was Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez, a former government informer whose ties to Jay Z are raising questions. According to the news outlet, in March 2015, after Perez was arrested in 1994 for possession of 35 kilos of cocaine, she struck a deal with the feds, agreeing to wear hidden wires to record her meetings with major cocaine traffickers turned government informer. She helped the Drug Enforcement Administration break up major drug deals in Puerto Rico and Colombia. The news outlet also reported in May of 2014 that according to federal court transcripts it had obtained, Perez wore wires to meet up with major cocaine traffickers. Perez was the wife of longtime Jay-Z wingman Juan Perez. Perez was the wife of longtime Jay-Z wingman Juan Perez, who is now the head of Roc Nation Sports. In 1994, the Perez family was rounded up in a major drug investigation in South Florida. That year, 19 people, including Desiree Perez, were indicted in a federal drug investigation. The news outlet reported in 1994 that the sting was the result of a 4-year undercover investigation that prosecutors said shut down a major South Florida drug smuggling family living in Miramar. According to the indictment, the family led by Miami seafood distributor Luis Miguel Perez smuggled cocaine in South Florida for 10 years to the tune of 35 to 50 tons. According to a White House statement, Perez was granted a full pardon for her involvement in a conspiracy to distribute narcotics. The conviction was more than 25 years old, Billboard reported. Since her conviction, Ms. Perez has taken full accountability for her actions and has turned her life around, the White House said in a statement. She has been gainfully employed and has been an advocate for criminal justice reform in her community. In a statement provided by Billboard, Perez said, "I'm grateful to have received a pardon and to have formally closed that chapter of my life in the eyes of the law. I have taken full accountability for my mistakes from 25 years ago, but I also take tremendous pride in my personal growth, perseverance, and accomplishments since then. This pardon reinforces my lifelong commitment to advocate for criminal justice reform and social justice initiatives," Perez said. Now, listen, I want y'all to get into this. This pardon reinforces my lifelong commitment to advocate for criminal justice reform and social justice initiatives. Well, in this video that her and her daughter was on, this woman had gotten very out of hand, out of control. And it seems like while she was trying to get her daughter on Baker's Law, she needs to be taken in on Baker's Law. But let's get into it. And then I'm going to have my panelists sound off. News of Perez's pardon raised questions on social media. Legendary hip hop DJ and radio host Funkmaster tweeted that he wants answers and promised to discuss it on his show. A news outlet reported, "Congrats to Jay-Z and Roc Nation CEO on the Donald Trump pardon. I need to get my facts in order before I can discuss. I never knew this until today. How does everyone feel about this?" Back in 2015, former Jay-Z fellow partner Dame Dash said that he was worried of Perez after learning that she had become a government informant after her arrest. Dash said he hesitated to do future business with Jay-Z due to the connection with Desiree and Juan Perez. So I want y'all to clock this. Back in 2015, Dame Dash says, "Hey, this woman is an informant. She's a little sketchy. I don't think I want to do business with her." But look at Dame Dash and Jay-Z today in a lawsuit. Let's continue. In a March 4th, 2015 interview, Swally Calloway's Series XM radio show, Dash said that he needed to have a one-on-one with Jay-Z about Desiree Perez being an informant. Dash said that the feds had been targeting him for years and had arrested some of his colleagues, including Kareem Biggs Burke, who founded Rockefeller with Dash and Jay-Z in 1995. Biggs was sentenced in 2012 to 5 years in prison for conspiring to distribute more than 100 kilos of marijuana. So, child, he's saying, allegedly in my mind, honey, you hired an informant, and now this BITCH is in here talking and telling everything of what's going on. Panelists, what are your thoughts? Sound off.
Well, I'm not surprised. Now, let me make sure I understood you right. You saying that Perez, Desiree Perez, they saying she's running her mouth about everything now.
No, she was a federal informant. She was a federal informant, and she's tied to Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z hired her and her dude. And Damon said, hey, this woman, she's worked with the feds, she's an informant. I don't feel comfortable working with her. And it seems like when she had come around, needless to say, things just started falling apart. Hence, Jay-Z and Dame Dash's relationship current day.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that Jay not an informant. What y'all think? What you think? What if that came out that he was an informant? I mean, just look at the whole scenario. Would you be surprised? Because I wouldn't.
You know, to be honest, I would not be surprised. I wouldn't feel surprised because when I think about that, I think about their on the run tour. And it's like they will put stuff out there in plain sight on the run tour. So you remember that tour that Beyonce and Jay Z had, the on the run tour?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they give me life. I'll give my life for you. So you're
Mm-hmm.
saying that you're willing to submit to this man. You're willing to, it was like a set it off moment. You remember when it was the lady, she had the money and the police told her to stop and she just took off running. I think
Yeah.
that was Vivica Fox and
Right.
they took her out. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? And it's like, girl, it's this is deep. And then we got to think about this. Desiree's the guy that had got hired with her, that was Jay-Z's right hand man. You see what I'm saying? So he was a right hand man. Now we got this lady. And then there's our recording, I believe, it's out there of her saying that she saved Rock Nation. Rock Nation was about to go under.
Mm.
Hmm.
Maybe that's why. Okay, if he's not an informant, then maybe that's why he grabbed hold of her because she saved Rock Nation. You
Yeah,
see
and
what
see, now
I'm
get
maybe
into this.
oh go ahead.
Uh, let's see. So it says Desiree Perez worked her way up in the entertainment world from a part-time nightclub manager to to record company executive in 2008 when Jay-Z launched Rock Nation as a joint venture with Live Nation. He hired her as chief operating officer of the company. Billboard reported in 2019 she was promoted to CEO of the company. Um, let's see. She looks like she's very masculine. And no shade, Lord forgive me. She's very masculine. She gives me like this masculine vibe. I just from the from her behaviors and things like that, it's like she's gutter, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
she's got that gutterness in her.
right. Well,
And that's
what was the interview about? Didn't you say Tasha K interviewed her?
yes, actually I'm gonna move on over here and
I'm
pull up this
surprised.
interview. Her
I,
daughter.
oh, she interviewed the daughter.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Because I was getting ready.
Yeah.
At first, I thought you were talking about uh uh what's her name? That you just called her name. I thought you were talking about her at first. I thought you were saying Desiree, that she interviewed Desiree, but she that interviewed the daughter. Because I was getting ready to say, why would Jay Z let her go on Tasha K? You know what I mean? Like that only.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was saying. So okay. So she interviewed the daughter. Ooh, what was
Yeah.
said? Did you look at it already?
Yeah, so actually let me go ahead and pull it on up for us. I mean, Desiree's daughter is smart. She actually went to school to be a psychiatrist, which is so crazy.
With me trusting my intuition and having to fight the
Can you
bullying,
hear it?
and now people like you who are wonderful giving me platforms to speak up, it reassures me that, okay, Demore, you did the right thing and everything is going to be okay. God got you through all of this.
Okay. Okay. That was very well.
Miss Lisa, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, girl, they kicked us right on up out of here. Let's go ahead and get into this interview right quick. So this is actually Rock Nation and CEO Sue Demaray Hatley exposed it all in Tasha K exclusive. Okay. Now this is fair use, and this is the daughter of Desiree Perez, and she's actually here on Tasha K to speak her truth. Let's get into it.
Similar to her. Like, you guys have similar names. She's Desiree, you're Demery. You look exactly like her. Are all the other kids named after your mom?
So my name is actually Demori.
Demori, my bad.
It's okay. It's okay. I didn't want to say anything, but I was like,
okay, gotcha.
I'm so yeah. None of my siblings. So I was named after her, and a lot of people don't know that, my biological dad, and so that's how my name came about. To answer your question about my relationship with my mother, so again, a lot of people don't know this. Only people closest to me. I've had issues with my mother for a long time, way before I even started dating my now husband. I was raised by my grandfather. So at 9 months, my mother was incarcerated.
Okay, so get into this. You have this lady, this young lady. She's it's a lot. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So you have this young lady, she grew up in a household where like, okay, her mom, got into some trouble and she's in jail, right? Or in prison.
Right.
Then her grandfather is having to raise her. So we got to take this into accountability. Desiree was not there. Because of the choices that she made, she ended herself up in a prison, right? You would think that a mother that has spent time away from her child would come back into her child's life and try to be there every step of the way. Well, no, this wasn't it. I feel like there was some type of betrayal, some type of jealousy of Desiree, of her daughter. Now you get to live this, now you live in this life, and I didn't have these opportunities. But what she failed to realize is she held herself back from those opportunities.
Right.
What are your thoughts? Sound off.
You still there?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Oh, okay. I think it sounds like to me that what's going on with the boyfriend? I thought I read something or I heard something somewhere about the daughter's boyfriend or husband.
To be honest,
Because I think he's a man of color.
yeah, he's definitely a man of color. And you know what? It just kind of feels like, Miss Lisa, let's just be honest. Can we call a spade a spade? Can we really wake it up? Because actually we are approaching 1 hour, and I feel like it's time for us to let our hair down a little bit. What you think?
Oh, I'm with it.
Okay. So what it gives to me is this heifer chose the wrong dudes in her life. And she saw that her daughter was happy and she wanted to intervene on it, and she wanted to break it up because she wasn't happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like to me. Like, girl, you're not happy and you see your daughter over here. She's you know, thriving. She is, like she's been through college, and you gonna find this out in this interview. This lady went through college. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. We're gonna take it right here.
These people are making them millions of dollars a year. So it is in their best interest not to be publicly and directly racist or say comments that are offensive.
Okay, hold on.
Like a healthy.
It's like to be poor because
Okay, here we go.
you've covered them your whole life. It kind of stings a little bit when they take it for granted. Like, I'll be fine without this, or I don't need this. And it's like, do you know, like, I literally damn near put my whole life on the line to provide. And it gets dismissed like I didn't have to do that. But yet our driving force was the children. And so, as just to be a little empathetic towards your mom, I'm not talking about the shit that she's done to you personally, right? That, will be determined in a court of law if it was illegal or not. And from what I read, if she did that, that's some pretty fucked up shit, right? But when I look at it at the core, it's like, well, why is she doing it? You know, like there has to be a method to the madness as to it's more than just control.
So, Miss Lisa, let me ask you this: have you seen? Have Miss Lisa? Let me ask you this. So, like, are you aware of mother and daughter jealousy? Like, have you ever heard of it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on that? Because, you know, I can truly say I've experienced it to a certain extent. And it's like, me and my time around being a parent, like, I would never put my kids through that shit. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm honest, I would never put my kids through that shit because it was just like, it didn't feel good. B, it was disgusting. C, when you talking about, parents, uh majority of the time, like mothers, they'll like choose the man over their kids. And I hear like a lot of that in the black community. I really hear a lot of that in the black community. They're like, oh, well, my mom, she decided to stay with this guy or whatever the case may have been. Um, but what are your thoughts? What can you say to that?
It happens a lot. A lot of that stuff goes on where you got somewhere it'll be say they got a son and a daughter.
Hmm.
And you got mothers who will treat their sons as if that son is their man.
Oh.
And the daughter, and they'll treat the daughter like she's an outsider, like she's a stranger, pretty much, But it'd be jealousy. It'd be jealousy
Well, why do you think that's so, though, Miss Lisa?
because a lot of times what happens is the mother be done messed up her life in some shape, form, or fashion. The mother be done stuff in her life that she's not proud of. So when her daughter comes along and say her daughter grows up, she got a nice shape, you know, she chose not to have kids. Say the mother had her first child while she was a teenager. Well, her daughter grew up and she chose not to have no children as a teenage she didn't become a teen mom. So the parents get jealous. Some parents get jealous over stuff like that. The daughter growing up, she might have a nice shape. Some parents get jealous over stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Or say the daughter grows up and she meets a good man. That
Yeah.
might be a ring on her finger. And moms get jealous of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really crazy. And mothers need help with shit like that. I don't care what nobody say. A mother needs help. Any two time she's turned jealousy for her own child. Excuse me. Any two times she's being jealous over her own child, that's sick. And she needs help. A mother needs help any two times she can do that to her own child. There's a big problem. That's a big issue. And that's something that a person needs to go to therapy for, or see a psychiatrist, or both, a psychiatrist and a therapist. You see what I'm saying? Because that is so sickening on so many levels. Just like you hear about mothers, and I know this type of shit happened for myself, where mothers sleep with their girls, with their daughters' boyfriends. Yeah, that shit goes down a lot of times like that. Yeah, because the mother be jealous and she'll do anything to get under the daughter's skin. Uh-huh. And she'll take a sleep with the daughter boyfriend and then put the daughter out. He ain't want to be with you. He wanted me. Yeah, I done seen it go down, girl. I done seen some of the craziest stuff go down. I was like, I could never see myself in a situation like that where I'm beefing with my daughter over her man or over anything, any type of jealousy. You know, I could never, it never even ran across my mind to be jealous of my daughter. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know what causes that, right? I never understood that. And I don't know what causes parents to do that. But you got a lot of them out here that do it. And I think some of the mothers wants to be young again. You know how your kids grow up and they become teenagers and they almost grown, and then you start feeling some type of way, because you're getting older, you're getting up in age, so you start feeling some type of way. I think it comes from the mother having insecurities, and she allows her insecurities to get the best of her, which makes her jealous towards her daughter. Like, no joke. I done seen mothers you would think they were sleeping with their sons the way they act over their son. No joke. No joke. You would think they were sleeping with their sons. They cater for them and everything. They'll cater for them, wash their clothes, everything.
Don't let the lady bring an issue. Oh well, he did what he handling his responsibilities.
Okay?
They be so involved like they the baby mama.
Mm-hmm.
Now these mothers, let's get into it because it be the coddling. And why do you think that these women do that to their sons? Like when we talk about Jay-Z and his mom is she's a lesbian,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You know what? I think the reason why mothers do that because they be trying to get back. They be mad with the fathers. They be mad. They be mad at the fathers, and so they work at destroying the son because they mad with the father. Now that's what I think. That's what
Mm.
I always thought. I've always thought the reason why some mothers do that to their sons is because they want to mess them up, because they're angry with the father, because either the father wasn't there, or the father made a baby and then rolled out. And some of these women carry anger forever. Do you hear me? They carry anger from the time they get pregnant all the way up to they have it. And while they raising the child, they angry. They still angry. And some of them don't get no help with it. They don't go to therapy. They don't go see a psychiatrist or nothing for the help, And I think that's why they end up doing what they do to their sons. They
Right.
destroy because they be upset with the father.
All right, so let's get into it. We about to hear from Desiree Perez's daughter. She went on the Tasha K show and she decided to let the people know what was going down. Well, listen here. Let me let you know that it's definitely going to be going down here on July the 12th of 2025, 7 p.m. Central Time, until we are going to have the Adult and Sexy Contest presented by Queen City. Okay. And the first place is $100. The second place is $50. Let's go ahead and let's get back into the content.
Is this an obsession with you to step into everything that she's built for you to take over?
Yeah, that's a great question. Oh, sorry, I think you were done.
No, and just to kind of so you can, because I love your detailed explanations. Is she like this with your other siblings?
Okay, good question.
Okay.
Well, to answer part one of your question, and I appreciate you sharing that as a mother in your intake, and I know that a lot of stuff is circulating. So you're thinking like a healthy, non-toxic parent, right?
What's gonna happen?
To address my mother, it's not the same thing.
You here?
What do I mean by that? When you're dealing with a
Yes. Miss Lisa, you here?
Oh boy, what's gonna happen?
Miss Lisa, are you here? All right, let's take a listen.
A mother who is a narcissist, who has very toxic traits when dealing with everybody in her life, not just me.
Okay.
It's very difficult for her to accept or kind of step back and allow another individual to go against her train of thought or her opinion or what she thinks someone's life should be or what they should be doing, etc. For her, it's not really just about power and control, because that's the main thing, that's the core, whatever. But it's also about, and I'm gonna say it, and people will say, "Oh no, because Jay-Z is black and so is black." There is racism rooted in some of these things. There's classism rooted in these things, and there's narcissistic control. To touch on racism, you more than me know there's racism between black and brown people. There's Hispanics who are darker than me, darker than you, who think that Javon or you are black, but they're not black. Or they think you're inferior because they're from the Dominican Republic, but you're from America. And so they see that there's some type of difference or superiority over the other. So there is racism between black and brown people. I know people don't probably speak about it, but it exists. I'm sure you're aware of that. I'm sure if you come across a Dominican that doesn't identify as black, but
Oh, child. Okay, so pretty much what her daughter is saying
You
is
know I couldn't hear you at first.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay, good. So pretty much what what Damery was saying is racism in a lot of this industry. And I can believe that.
Me too.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about some of these black people and they get up ahead and they start going out to dinner with these billionaires and millionaires, they begin to believe that they are one of them until their asses are in jail, like P. Diddy, until their asses are up with allegations like Jay-Z. But with P. Diddy, they are not going to turn him loose, in my opinion. And you and I were talking about that last night.
Yeah. I don't think so. And I'm going to tell you what else I think. I think it's more to come. Now, I could be wrong. You know, that's just my opinion. I think it's more to come.
Wow.
I think it's some more stuff going to come out. I think some more stuff going to come out. I really do.
Now, when you say more stuff like what?
Like, I don't know. Like, maybe some more information might come out about him. You know? And it's going to be something that the feds want to look into. And if they may already got something, though.
Well, let me ask you this. Remember Jay-Z and Kanye, they were cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not so cool anymore.
Right.
Because I want to take it back, because remember him and Kim, Kanye and Kim, they would, be captured in photos with Beyonce and Jay-Z, and the photos would be so awkward. The ladies would not be engaging with each other. They seemed like, one was better than the other. Right. And now we have P. Diddy, and now we have Kanye coming and supporting P. Diddy. Kanye also called Beyonce kids the R word, and he soon apologized about it. But let's take a listen a little bit more to the Rock Nation CEO daughter, Demery Hadley, and see what she has to say about exposing her mother and Rock Nation.
And then we flew off to Germany, and here I am taken away from everything that I know to go and live with her. And it was some hard adjusting emotionally, just making new friends and just not having my family that I knew. Like, I come from a small town where, I knew the whole town as a 6-year-old on how to get to my grandmother's house and get to my cousin's house. That's how small and intricate it was. To now I'm in Germany, my dad's deployed Afghanistan, and we're here, and she's trying to be a mother under the age of 23 with 3 kids, right? And that caused a lot of a big disconnection between her and I, and it became very toxic to where if she couldn't control me, she would beat me to control me severely. Like there were times where she would tie me up and for hours and beat me, and because I was a bad kid. I acted out. I remember one time the judge telling her, "Your daughter come back in here again, I'm sending you to jail." So her being a young mother, she did what she was taught, beat her. And it was never no conversations or anything like that. And so, we all suffer from abuse in different ways. Mine was more physical and emotional. It sounds like, did your mom ever put hands on you?
But listen here, let's talk about that. Miss Lisa, have you ever suffered abuse in your house?
No.
Like a whooping? Have you got a whooping?
Yeah, but not like, how can I put it? Not like my mother was like pat pat. You know what I mean? It wasn't never like uh no stitching cord or belt or whatever. It was like a pat pat. Unless I ran. Now if I ran, my mother was good at that shoe. She knew how to flip her shoe up, catch it, and throw it. And it always connected, right? You take off running, and she said, okay, now you gonna run? And she would take and flip that shoe up in the air, and I'm telling you, it always connected. But I didn't have too much of that because I listened to my mother.
So you got hit with a shoe?
I didn't play games with my mother.
You got hit with a shoe?
Yeah, I got hit with a shoe because I ran and started taking the beating, standing there and take the whipping that I was going to get. I want to run.
So let's pause right there.
Okay.
And let's explain what a whooping means.
Well, for me,
I'm gonna help you out. A whooping was what they did to the slaves. Now, when you said, you took off running, you don't think slaves had taken off running because they didn't get the whooping? They didn't want that whip? That is slave. And I had to be taught, put that belt down.
Right.
Put that belt down.
You know what, Tisha? Queen Tulsa, you know what? I don't even think my mother even looked at it like that. Like now you saying that, I don't really think my mother even looked at it like that. Seriously. Because they were so brainwashed. And you know what I mean? That I don't even think she looked at it like that. Seriously. I don't even think my mother looked at it like in that manner. Because I'm quite sure if she did, she wouldn't have did it.
That's true. But that's why it's so important for us to unteach, because there's so many things that we were miseducated on.
Yeah.
And then we got to think about it. Back in the day, they didn't want our people educated. They didn't want them thriving and surviving, but they still were able to be able to get educated. And there was some slave owners that would teach their slaves how to read, the ones that they favored and things like that. So, it's just a lot. And let's get into Demarine. So the question was, had she ever experienced any abuse in her house? Let's take a listen.
She ever beat you?
No, my thing was more verbal and controlling. And I'm so sorry that you went through that. That's terrible.
Yeah, no, I've done my therapy, girl. We good. Like I'm 43 years old. Like I don't hold that against my mom at all. Like we're in a beautiful space. Okay, so, but that took years. And you're talking about your mom. Like your mom strikes me as the type of person, and I see it a lot because I deal with people for a living. Probably should have went to school for some sort of therapy or psychiatry, but I chose this. It's more fun. But it does dwell along the lines, but your mother strikes me as the type of person that she's not happy with a lot of the decisions that she's made. And so her accolades come from being able to help people and try to control them so that they won't end up making the same decisions that she made. I'm sure being a part of the cartel, she's seen things that she would just bury with her. And she probably has a hard time opening up to therapists about it. And so all she knows how to do is try to control her environment and things around her and the people.
Okay, so this is the Rock Nation's daughter that's talking to Tasha K. this is my thing. Therapy, it wasn't really popular back in the day, right? It wasn't really talked about. We just have so many resources that we have available today. I remember, hearing the older people saying, things have changed, back in my day. Well, it's not back in the day, honey. We have pressed and persevered forward. And it's like you have to catch up with the times.
Right.
You definitely have
But
to
you
catch
know
up with
what?
the times.
You know what I want to say right quick before I lose my
Uh-huh.
thought? That's the problem with some of us today, right? We're not trying to catch up. We're not trying to change our mindset, right? And that's a big problem. Like, sir, I'm glad you brought this up because that's a big problem for a lot of people, right? Especially older people. They wanna try to come at things like it was back during their time when the time has changed. And you gotta address, sometimes you gotta be transparent. Even though your mindset is back then, you still dealing with things the way you did back then. Things have changed now. They're not the same as they were back then. So you have to learn how to unlearn and relearn. You have to learn how to be transparent. You see what I'm saying? And that's a problem for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want, let me tell you, I got that in my family where you can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them nothing, Queen. I'm not joking. It's irritating. These type of people are people you can't tell them nothing. They think they know everything. They think that their way is the right way.
Miss Lisa, hold it down for me. I'm gonna go in the house and get me a cup of water right quick.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, they think that some of these older people think that their way is the right way when things have changed. A lot of things have changed in a lot of ways. And so us being older people, we got to learn how to be transparent. We've got to learn how to be transparent. We cannot be going at things the way it was back in the day because we not back in the day. Okay? And another thing, these young folks are not taking shit the way people did back in the day. You understand what I'm saying? They not doing it. They not doing it. These younger folks are ready. They ready and willing to go down with a fight. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Do you hear me? I don't blame them. That's what you better do. That's what you better do. Huh. Hmm. I don't blame you. But a lot of people are stuck in their ways and they stuck in what happened back in the day. No, no, no. No, you can't come at these young folks the way things were back in the day. They not doing that. They not doing that now. Now, far as the respect thing, now, the younger people do have to learn to respect their elders. They really do. Because that's just something that goes, you know, that goes without being said. Respect. I'm telling you, because respect will take you a long way. It really will. Respect will take you a long way. But when you start disrespecting your elders and stuff, it'll shorten your life. I'm serious. It will shorten your life. So I do believe in that. I do believe in respecting your elders. But like I said, I be talking to quite a few elders and letting them know y'all got to be transparent because these young folks is not doing things the way y'all was doing it years and years and years ago. They not doing it like that. So you gotta willing to listen to them and be transparent with them, you know? And I'm glad that I'm one of them that's able to be transparent with the younger generation. You know, because it's not a lot of us that can do that. A lot of us are not doing that. A lot of us, we want to dictate to the younger people what we think. That's it and that's all. We don't want to hear nothing. We just want to dictate to you what what we think. And that's not that's not how it's going. It ain't going down like that. Because what's going to happen is the younger people not going to want to listen to you at all. They'll stand there and let you talk and act like they listening, but they not going to be really listening. You see, you lose them all together when you start trying to dictate something to them that happened years and years ago. Come on. No, these younger folks now is standing up. They standing up. Oh yeah. They standing up. They not they not doing that.
Yes, I'm back with you, Miss Lisa.
Okay. They willing to stand up and fight. The younger people today is willing to stand up and fight if they have to. They really are. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
But
So
why
you
do
got
you
to be
feel like
careful about going at these younger people with that stuff that happened years and years and years ago. You got to be careful about that. You got to learn how to be transparent.
But you know what? Let's talk about it, because when we talk about families and grudges and things like that, you holding a grudge with your family member over something, and like it's a lot. It's when we talk about that jealousy, not only with mamas and daughters, but with other family members too.
Oh, I can touch on that too. I got a situation right now, right, with one of my sisters, and she has the nerve. My sister ain't never really liked me. Let me put the cards on the table. Cause I got to be honest. If I'm gonna tell it, I got to be real. I got to be honest about it. Okay. My sister
Let's
don't
go.
like me, huh?
I said, let's go. Be honest.
My sisters don't like me. They don't care for me. Okay. Now, when I was younger, they used to they would come around every now and then, once in a blue moon. Let's put it like that, right? But then as I got older, I had a brother who turned me onto heroin. And it took off from there. Okay. But my sisters never liked me. When I started dating, I had a boyfriend and he treated me like gold. Okay? He just treated me good all the time. Okay? And they didn't like it. They would get mad. Man, you gonna let her date him and he giving her money and stuff like that. So my mom said, well, she's dating him. They dating. And I was like, what do you expect? If he's dating me, what do you expect for him to do? You know? But what it was is that they never had boyfriends like that. So they used to get mad at me. You know? They never liked me, man. This was before I even started getting high. They just never liked me. So when my brother ended up turning me on to heroin, and I went down that rabbit hole, right? My mother went to them and talked to them because she wanted to see if she could get with them and they could come together and try to help me out, try to help me some kind of way, right? All of them got together. They talked about me like a dog. You heard me? I mean, they talked about me like a dog. Like, seriously. And I'm going to tell you, I went through something during that time because I was like, damn, these are my sisters. You know, these are my sisters. Are you serious right now? And I did. I was hurt. My feelings were, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. My feelings were hurt. But once I got clean and stuff, and I started to, heal from different stuff, I started to get myself together. And I was able to deal with them, but deal with them at a distance because I already knew how they felt about me. you know? And so after I healed from different stuff, I was able to say, okay, I wasn't mad with them, but I knew that I couldn't be around them like that. Because let's be clear on something. When you know a mother hubber don't mess with you like that, okay? You're not going to keep trying to push yourself to be around people that you know don't mess with you like that, okay? So when I recognized that my sisters was not trying to, you know, be a part of my life in the right way, I had to back up. I had to back up and let it go. I had to let it go. So one of my sisters, we started hooking up. She would call me, we would hook up, go to the market together and stuff, like go get something to eat, something like that, sit down and chit chat, right? But every time we would do that, she would try to bring up something from the past. But she would never bring it up the way it really happened, right? She would bring it up to try to make me feel bad, try to manipulate me and make me feel some type of way. So I used to say, man, I don't remember it like that. But I'm gonna let it go. If that's what you think, I'm gonna let it go. Then after a while, I stopped letting it go. I started breaking it down, saying that's not how it went. It went like this. And when I started doing that, she would get mad. She would get angry because she knew that I knew what had happened. And she would get mad with me because I didn't just let it go and let her have that, let her say that when I knew it wasn't true. So I started to stand up for myself. So one day, her kid, we was at my brother's funeral, and her children tried to come at me in a disrespectful way. Okay? So my kids, they quiet, but they like their mom. When they cut loose, they cut loose. Okay? And so I had to get them to pipe down. I said, we're at my brother's funeral. Y'all better straighten up in here now. Don't do that. So they did. They calmed down and everything. So after it was over with, my sister came past my house one day, and my daughter pulled her up and asked her about what happened, because my daughter wasn't there at the time when that happened. So she asked my sister what happened. So my sister tried to play dumb like she didn't know what it went down. So when I came on the porch, Angel was like, I was asking her what happened at the funeral, Ma. She said she don't know. And I said, you do know, because my other sister had said something to her about it. So I knew she knew. We ended up getting into it because in so many words, she was saying that it was okay for her kids to try to disrespect me, right? So like I told her, I said, okay, that's fine. I said, I'm not even mad about that. That's fine. But don't get mad when I disrespect them. Don't get mad when I come off at them the way they come off at me. Don't get upset about it. Because I would never allow my kids to disrespect my sisters or my brothers. I always tell my children, if my sister or my brother do something to you, you come and talk to me, let me handle it. And they grown. They grown. And I still would not want them to disrespect my sisters and my brothers. Talk to me, let me know what's going on, and we'll deal with it like that, But she, in her own words, was okay with them disrespecting me, trying to disrespect me anyway. So my daughter said, that's my mom. And I will get out here and rock with your children, because that's my mom. And we don't disrespect you. So why would you let your kids disrespect my mother? My mother wouldn't let us do it to you. Of course, she made a whole bunch of excuses and reasons. So I told her, I said, man, come on, we ain't got time to talk about that. I said, just get the fuck off my porch. I ain't even got time to talk to you no more. I said, because I can't even believe where your mindset at right now. I just can't believe you, right? So she took and called my daughter. No, the next day my daughter called her. Oh, man. She told my daughter all these lies and stuff. I mean, she just, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. So we haven't spoke since. Okay. And I'm okay with it. And let me tell you why I'm okay with it. I'm not mad with her, but I feel like this. If she can't come to me and apologize for what she did, it's no need in us having a relationship. That means she doesn't care anything about me. She was wrong as two left shoes for what she did and the things that she said. She was wrong. And if she can't come and admit to her wrongdoings and apologize, then it needs to stay just like it is. And I'm just asking God to forgive me. I'm asking God to forgive me for this because I just don't see us being sisters. When you don't respect me, you don't respect me at all. She doesn't respect me at all. And the things that she said to my daughter was out of bounds, and she was lying. It wasn't like she was telling the truth. She was lying to try to make herself look like she was, like I was doing something wrong to her. And she
Got
owes
it.
me an apology. And if I don't get it, we just won't deal with each other. If she need me, I love my sisters. Don't get it twisted. If she need me, I'm going. That's what kind of heart I have. I'm going. If it ever come down to it that one of my sisters need me, I'm going. It's not even up for debate. But as far as this situation, no. I'll let her stay where she at, and I'll stay where I'm at.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into Rock Nation's CEO, Desiree Perez, her daughter,
Okay.
is telling us about her experience with her mother.
Okay.
And see, you guys, we're going to be listening to Tasha Cam. We could be breaking it down with real life experiences. And thank you for being vulnerable, Miss Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being vulnerable.
You're welcome.
I can truly say, I can relate, and I can say that some of the things that you expressed, I've actually been through as well.
Mm-hmm.
With the emotions and the feelings, and we all have to understand that we all have our own stuff
Right.
that we deal with, and um, for individuals to try to play on your intelligence, it just makes you, want to, really just flip the script. But we also have to remember we have to stay in control of ourselves, because if two people are out of control, who's really in the right?
Right. And I thought about it like that too. I said, should I call her?
I think you should call her, but maybe have a lunch where it's just you and her, and you just give yourself permission to just hear her out, right? Hear her out, and then see where she's coming from, and then you overpower that with love. Even with her grievances, you may not agree with them, but you just make the best out of that. You show her that you've grown and you're doing something different.
But I've tried that, Queen. I tried that. They always trying to belittle me, right? Or they always trying to bring up my past. Okay. That's what made me shy away from them. Because they was always trying to bring up my past. Okay. And like I would tell them, I know my story. I don't need you to remind me. I know my story.
Well, maybe we should have them on the show and we could mediate.
Okay, we can try that.
Yeah, because it'd be coming from love, and
I doubt if they do it, but we can try it. I doubt
yeah, yeah. As long as we try, hey.
it. Right.
All right, let's get into Demarie, and she's going to tell us about her mama and those experiences living under that roof.
Okay.
people around her in order to make herself feel safe, secure, and sane.
That's a good point, maybe, but
Yeah.
yeah, she got a lot of issues.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have gotten to this point, right? Could I have done things legally to my mother? Absolutely, right? And trust me, there was a time, and I shared this with my winos a few weeks ago. I said there was a time where my stepdad was dying from cancer, and we're going to get into the gist of the lawsuit here in just a second. But I just kind of wanted to touch bases with you because I do really feel that this doesn't have to go here, and I feel that it's going to be a breakthrough in this. But what's wrong is what's wrong. Like people shouldn't be manipulating and using systems to try to, intimidate, scare, lock up. None of that. That's all fucked up and that's wrong. Especially if she did that and those people helped her to do that to you, right? But it just goes to show how out of body your mother is. Mm-hmm. It's like she lives in a very reactionary phase. But I say this to say that when could I have taken a legal issue? No. I mean, yes, I could have. Could I have hated my mother? I'm talking about like, I remember one time I wanted to do everything that she did to me and it was going to end bad. And that moment led me into a spiritual awakening because I was going to kill my mom. I don't like to use those words, but it had got so bad and I was in my adult years and I was married with a child. And she called me and asked me for some help. And my stepfather was dying of cancer. And it went so bad that she blamed everything on me and tried to fight me. And it just took me back to when I was a child at how she would always pounce on me or belittle me verbally. And then I left in anger where I checked out, forgot about the husband, forgot about the daughter, forgot about everything. And I was like, I just want to get her back. And so I literally was going to turn the car around. And if it wasn't for me calling a friend and then putting on YouTube and listening to Wayne Dyer, I would have turned around and I would have had my mom join my stepfather. That's how mentally and emotionally I was gone from having a mother have me at 16 years old. And if she probably would have had the money that your mom had, oh my God. Like, and she's done things like that where she'll give people cars, take them back if you don't do what she wants you to do. Like, I mean, she's done a lot of things like that to other people, but because I know her personality, I've never accepted anything, from her. But because she lived in a reactionary phase and she still lives in a very reactionary phase, the breakthrough was through me. Like, there was nothing I could do to get her to change. However, she's not that person anymore because I'm.
So let me ask you this, Ms. Lisa, do you feel like you were your mother's breakthrough? Like you are, with you standing up for yourself, with you, letting your sisters and family know that, hey, you just can't run over me. Because I got to that point where I had to be the generational curse breaker and I had to let my family know you are not about to play with me, my time, or on my intelligence. And it rubbed a few of them wrong.
Well, you know what? I feel like I did a lot. I changed a lot as far as my mother wouldn't have done. Because my mother used to let my sister, my oldest sister, right? My mother used to let her come in our house and upset our house and then leave. And I never understood why. I never understood why she would let my sister come in there and uproar the house and leave and wouldn't say nothing, right? It just rubbed me the wrong way. And one day she came in there and I had my son. I only had my one son at the time. And I had him up on my shoulder. We was laying across the bed asleep. And she came in there and tried to put her nails in my neck. Well, I got my son down on my shoulder. And I'm waking up, I'm looking, I'm grabbing, I'm holding on to my son. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, right? But we in there sleep. It's her. So I woke up and I had some soda bottles on my dresser, right? And she tried to break and run, and I was boop, man. I was turning back, I was turning her head up with them soda bottles. You heard me? I was like, girl, you get ready to mess around and hurt my baby. What is you doing? And my mother didn't really say nothing, right? And I never could understand why. Come to find out, I had a different father. Okay. And I didn't know it. And my sister was holding that over my mother's head. And so that's why a lot of times when she came to my mother's house with that foolishness, my mother didn't say nothing. My mother wouldn't say nothing. She would just say, leave, just leave. But she wouldn't say nothing else to her. And come to find out, that's why. That's what it was all about. My mother didn't want her to blurt it out that I had a different father. Okay? Because I didn't know nothing about it at the time. But when my mother finally told me, everything kind of made sense to me. You know, why everything was the way it was, you know? It all made sense to me. And I was like, man, you could have been told me that. I said, I ain't gonna look at you no different. Why wouldn't you tell me that? I don't know. You know, back during that time, Tulsa, when you when they feel like you stepped outside your marriage,
Yeah.
you're ashamed.
Like you get a lot of backlash like from the
Right,
family.
right,
Oh, you a baby out of wedlock. Oh,
right,
yeah. Oh, your
right.
mom, she didn't want the whole title.
Exactly. And
Right.
she didn't want her children to have to deal with that either.
Right.
But my father helped her take care of all of her children because their father had caught syphilis in the service. My mother took him to get rid of it, and he wouldn't take all the shots. He started the shots, but he didn't continue them. And so that shit ate up his nervous system and stuff.
Mm,
And
mm, mm.
he went crazy. Basically, he went crazy. And so when she met my father helped her take care of all 9 of her kids, as well as herself.
Yeah.
Okay?
All
So,
right.
like I told her, you did what you could do. You did what you had to do. You had 9
Yeah.
kids to take care of.
Well, listen. Let's listen to Demarie
Oh,
because she's about to get into how her mother did some things to her.
okay.
And one thing I want to say is this woman, the Rock Nation CEO, her daughter Demarie Hadley is a very smart young woman. This woman has went to college, but the Rock Nation CEO tried to get her for like the Baker Act, tried to get her locked up into like a mental facility and things like that, which I felt like that was horrible.
Right, right. It was.
Horrible. I mean, just imagine Miss Lisa trying to live your life, right? Let's
Right,
just say this because you know our mothers, and I say our because your mother and my mother, they wasn't given a life guide on how to be the best mother in the whole wide world. They did the best that they could, right?
right,
But I just feel like, okay, we look at our parents and we see how they raised us. And we as parents, we're going to give our children, you know, different treatment. Not saying that we are going to spoil them rotten because there will be discipline. However, there will be boundaries and there will be love and there will be respect because we both know how it feels to feel not loved in your home. And I
right.
told AT2 this. I said, I've been blackballed in my own home. Have you ever felt like you were blackballed in your own home?
Yeah, yeah, somewhat, but not by my mom.
But I'm just saying, like in general, like
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was a difference.
yeah,
There was a difference being made. There was, somebody put up on a higher pedestal. There was, self trying to bring self esteem down because really, Miss Lisa, we're the chosen ones. We're the golden children.
yeah. And you know what? Check this out. It's strange that you said that, but you know what? I found that out. I had a spiritual awakening, and I found that out. I found that out. I found that out. That it was so wow how that came to me so clear, right? Because I used to say, God, why me? Why am I going through so much? You know? And I had a dream, but the dream was so real. It was like God was talking to me in this dream, right? And he was breaking it down to me why I was going through what I was going through, and I was going to be fine. You're going to be all right. You're going to make it through this. You know, I got you. You know, it was like it was. I can't explain it, but it was so real, right? That when I woke up, I was like actually looking around, trying to see if he was still sitting there talking to me. That's how real the dream was. Okay. But yes, we are the chosen ones. We the underdogs. Okay? And it just is what it is. And now that I know that and I have accepted that, the world looks so different now. You know what I'm saying? It really looks different. And I'm okay with it. That's the great thing about this. Is that once I went through what I've been through, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because I know I got God on my side. You hear me? And so it's a big difference. It just is. But it's a beautiful thing, especially when you find out, you know, when you have that spiritual awakening, it makes things look so much different. And you can digest it better. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a listen to Dear Marie. Let's see what she has to say.
An adult, and there's certain things that she can't do to me. Now your situation is different because she actually has access to a lot of power and things like that. But I'm just wondering if you were to take another path, would you want to sue your mother?
So, first of all, again, I'm so sorry all of that stuff happened to you, and I'm glad that you were able to have what I think is a rare outcome, right, in a situation like that, where you were able to heal, go through therapy, and still repair a relationship that most people would not even entertain doing. So I commend you for that, and I'm sorry that you went through that. So I do want to say that because I don't want to just
thank you. And I'm just trying to create like a line of
and I think you and I connect in a lot of things. So it's interesting to hear your story and the parallels in my story. And so no, my mom never physically abused me, but again, I think number one, I was never a troubled kid. I was a nerd. I was a very by the book person. If people haven't noticed with my interviews, I have lived a life doing everything that I could possibly correct and right for the reasons of having to deal with both of my parents being taken from me due to the drug and the street life. And so I intentionally made sure to stay out of trouble. I always said when I have a kid, I wasn't going to be involved in that type of stuff. That's why I've never drank alcohol. That's why I've never done any drugs. That's why I've never been around people that do that type of things. I've always walked a straight line because I always said, I don't want to end up like my parents. I don't want to do that to my children. I want to make sure that I become like, you know, the opposite of them, right? Because I was sad, I was mad, I had abandonment issues, and so I made sure to walk a straight line. So I always lived like by the book and was a by the book person. It was drastic. Like I've never drunk alcohol, and I can tell you, you can call 100 people from my high school, middle school, college, to adulthood, and they will all tell you this girl has never drank alcohol. Nothing. I purposely did that because I was so traumatized to not have mom and dad and have to, you know, be a child and miss them and not understand what was going on, that I purposely made sure to always write a straight line. So I never gave her a hard time. The only thing I did was protest when you're pulling me out of my home, taking me from my grandfather. And it wasn't the reason of, oh, I got my stuff together and I have a house. It was also because she spent probably 25 years hating my grandfather's partner, hating her. And she raised me, and I called her mom growing up because I was with this lady from 9 months to 13. And I called her mommy, and she hated her.
Hello?
Okay, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so yeah, we are covering this story. Oh, AT2, I just brought you up. I was telling Miss Lisa, dang, what were we talking about? I just said it.
We said
Dang,
so much.
huh?
We talked about so much.
I know. But I had brought up a conversation. I was telling you something me and him had talked about. Hey, AT2, can you hit the link right quick for us? Please. Just come up for 1 second. I promise I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you too long. But no, Miss Lisa, while we're waiting to see if AT2 is going to come up, can you let the people know what we're going to be doing on July the 12th?
If I'm not mistaken, that's when we're gonna do the lingerie, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
We're gonna do the lingerie contest. So come on through with your peekaboo on. So,
AT2, you hear Miss Lisa? She said, come through with your peekaboo on. I told AT2 he has to get some type of lingerie. The guys can be sexy too. Get on your little silk little lingerie. Have your little, little buttons, little button up and leave a button unloose, so we can see it. Yes, honey, we want to see it all. We want y'all to bring it. And AT2 is actually going to be he's going to be one of our judges, and so I really appreciate him. And also, we are in the works. We're working together. We have a project. I don't know if I can speak about it now, but we are working on a project, and I want you guys to get really familiar with him. And I'll let you guys know when it airs. But we have some things going on behind the scenes. Shout out to AT2. Oh my God, Tulsa trying to see me naked. Oh, you better listen. He's over there being naughty, child. He over there being naughty. Okay. Now listen, let's get into Miss Demery Hadley. This is Rock Nation CEO Desiree Perez's daughter. Now, we're going to zoom it up and let's see what she has to say.
NIGGER. She's hitting me, punching me from not hopping the gate. My poor dog. I'm trying to not drop my dog. Pinecrest, please come.
Okay, y'all, hold on.
Having an episode. So we're rushed. We're going 90 on the freeway to get there. Long and behold, my grandma wasn't a part of this. She didn't even know, unfortunately. She almost had a heart attack, literally, because they're telling her son is going to die. And I'm going 90 on the freeway to get there, see my whole entire family, and her saying, oh no, we need to talk to you, whatever. And I was like, what? Like, did you lie? I was so upset. Imagine, I'm thinking my uncle was dying. Like, why would you do? So I'm trying to leave. She's not letting me leave. I had to call the police because she closed the electrical gate. She whispered in my ear, threatened me, called Javon the NIGGER word, which I will not say, and tells me, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to have you committed. And away from that NIGGER, she's hitting me, punching me from not hopping the gate. My poor dog. I'm trying to not drop my dog. Pinecrest police comes, forces her to open the door. And she tries telling them she's suicidal. And I'm like, what? So they separate everybody. They ask me questions. And they're like, nothing is wrong with this girl. You guys are holding her against her will. Help me call an Uber. Document everything and tell me I'm free to go. That was the first time.
Okay.
The second time was Dr. Rachel Bernstein at Iconic. And then Javon's arrest happened a week after. And then the third time that they were successful was the Marchman Act. No, I'm sorry. The third time was the Rock Nation assistant showing up at my grief counselor's office and showing up and saying she's an anonymous tip and saying that I was being raped. And my grief counselor telling her she needs to leave her premises and that she's not going to violate HIPAA and disclose if I am or not.
Okay, I have a question. Doesn't this sound like the same thing that Wendy Williams is going through?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you talk about individuals, doctors, you talking about doctors that are intervening and saying, oh my God, you are losing your mind, when that's not the case.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think that maybe Rock Nation, Jay-Z, or Beyonce, or any of the affiliates allegedly have a hand in Miss Wendy Williams' demise? Because one thing about Miss Wendy Williams is she always told you about Jay-Z and Beyonce and how they didn't seem real. It was staged, and just really calling them out. If y'all go back to the archives and put in Wendy Williams calls out Jay-Z and Beyonce, y'all will see, I guess some of the beehives, we have some beehives in here. The numbers went down. Let's get into it, child.
A patient and to please leave. That was the third time. And then the fourth time was successful on March 27, 2024, when Dr. Daniel Bopar and Sig9 and all these individuals falsely Baker activated. So four attempts, the fourth was a successful.
So let me ask you a question. How do you know they conspired with your mother, or maybe your mother happened to convince them that you were having mental issues?
Okay, so the evidence, which I can send that to you, the evidence is overwhelming. Number one, you guys saw a snippet of the body cam. Full body cam will show you me saying, you were hired by Desiree Perez. I know she's paying you, and him saying, well, all doctors get paid. So body cam footage. Then we have James Fondo from Sig9 saying, we put a GPS tracker in her car. That's how we know she's coming, the car, and saying all that stuff, and the full video of that. Then we have evidence, which we will release that in court, of her relationship with James Fondo prior to all of this. Then we have overwhelming evidence of body cams, audio, public records requests, and emails of all these individuals conspiring to get the goal was get Demori committed so she can't testify in favor of her then boyfriend. That was in email, public record.
He could be.
Okay, so let's get into this. Remember when Miss Wendy Williams, right? She got into that facility just to kind of like grieve like her marriage, right? I feel like that's what it was. She was grieving her marriage. I mean, her husband, she's on top. This dude goes out here. He makes a fool of himself and the family. And she's like, let me just get into this program to gather myself. Let me keep myself together because I love myself. But right now, things are a little heavy, right? This woman that has no prior history of drinking, not drugging, not any of that. And now her life is at stake, and now her freedom is at stake because at the hands of her mother, who is the CEO of Rock Nation. What are your thoughts on what she has spoken about so far, Miss Lisa? Sound off. You on mute, honey.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I feel as though I believe, I don't know, I believe her. I believe her. I believe she got one of those type of mothers that want to be in control. She want to control shit. She seemed like one of those type of people that's, you ever met a person that's been a boss, like they've been in like a boss position
Yeah.
for a long time, and like they don't have no boundaries for people. They feel like when they tell you to do something, you should do it. It's not up for debate. You know, I've seen people like that, and that's I believe what she's saying about her mom. Now, only thing, I don't know if I would have did an interview or if I would have just went on and took it to court. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I want to, maybe she's to the internet because people come up missing all the time.
Well,
people, yeah, and people, you know, they will put these narratives out. Oh, this individual was doing this, just like they said about Orlando Brown. But I'm starting to believe Orlando. I mean, I've always felt like Orlando Brown has saw some things. He's been around some things. And people, they will try to mark you off just because of your past. And I'm glad that this young lady was not doing any drinking or any narcotics or anything like that, because they will use that against you. Oh, well, she was doing this and she was drinking and, you know, or she was doing drugs and she had an overdose. It'd be easy for them to plant something off when it comes to your demise. But if you don't have anything and you're verbally saying this, so now it's out there. If Demery, which is Rock Nation's Desiree Perez, if her daughter comes up missing, well, we're gonna say, well, she didn't do drugs. She went to college. She was very aware. She made it very clear that her mother feels a certain type of way about black people, and she likes to use the N word.
Right.
What are your thoughts about that? Sound off.
I think well, now that you say it like that, then I can understand now why she came to the internet to do an interview. Because once now everybody knows, got an idea of what's going on. So now if something happens to her, then they know where to start. They got some type of idea where to start at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and not even with her, but even with her husband too, because I believe they're married, and she's
right,
married to a black man.
right.
Yeah, she's married to a black man.
I don't understand why her because her mother look like she's mixed.
I believe her mother is like Dominican or something.
Oh, okay.
I think she's Dominican. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay. I thought she was mixed. That's why, you know what I mean? She looks
Uh huh.
like she might be mixed to me. But I just don't understand. But you got people like that though, that will control, they will go to any limit to control you. They won't stop. They won't stop.
But this is her
So,
mom, though.
huh?
This is her mom, though. You know.
Yeah. Hey, did you see that movie on Lifetime where the mother had the her son's wife? He met a girl and the mother was jealous over the girl. And she took and killed the girl. The girl was pregnant. She killed the girl and the baby. Yeah.
No.
Because she was jealous about her being with her son.
But you know what?
Uh-huh.
That goes back to what you said earlier. Some of these women be treating their sons like they're their man. Like this is
Yeah.
my man. And you know, I dated a dude. He was actually a PK. He was a preacher's kid. His mom was the preacher. And just the way that, oh my God, just remembering that, just her energy and all that. Like, girl, this is your son. Like
Okay.
this man is grown. Like he is. Don't just be popping up at his house and trying to tell him to. Like she just got really, really, really weird.
Yeah. They be like that. That's why I say I'm not surprised at this. I'm not surprised at this at all. This situation here, I'm not surprised. Because you got some of them out there that's like that. And they, any means necessary, they will go as far as they can go to get you to do what they want you to do. Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Let's go ahead. I mean, I know we on this, but we're gonna touch on Tyler Perry's story right after this. How do you feel
Oh
about that?
yes. Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes.
All right. So we're wrapping it up with Jay-Z, honey. His Rock Nation CEO um is being sued by her daughter. Okay. Demery Hadley is a daughter and she's exposing her mother to Tasha K. Let's get into it.
Jailed.
Where he could be jailed and I wouldn't have to show up to testify. That was the purpose of the Baker and the Marchman Act. It wasn't because she was concerned. We have an email record of Brett Schwartz falsely saying he's my attorney, emailing the state attorney, them telling them we don't have probable cause or evidence to make an arrest for misdemeanor DV, and Brett Schwartz forgetting that he blind copied the state attorney and thinking he's having a side conversation with my mother. D. Perez, S. Carter Enterprise. We have that. They forget. And he says, well, we don't have evidence for the misdemeanor. Maybe we can try to meet with a brainwashing expert specialist, and maybe come up with a plan to have her committed and then pursue him for felony human
So
trafficking.
she accidentally emailed you and he emailed you back?
No, they emailed. So here in Florida, we have the Sunshine State Law, I think is what it's called, where anything that's emailed to the state attorney's office or any public official office is public record. So our investigative team, one of the amazing things that they've been able to do is do public records requests. And here in the state of Florida, luckily, when you do a public records request, if, like I said, if there's emails between state officials, that's public record. So what did we uncover? We uncovered emails between all these attorneys and these law firms and my mother, emailing the state attorney's office in Florida, trying to influence them to press charges on my husband, even though there wasn't probable cause. And then this Brett Schwartz forgetting, because they were all CC'd on the emails with the state, forgetting that he had the state attorney's office blind copied and conversating with my mother on email while the state attorney is seeing the emails. And so now that's part of the public record. So that's how we were able to uncover him and my mother saying, oh man, you know, I'm trying to quote it best, but
I
we
got
don't
you.
have enough. Yeah, we don't have enough. And him saying, well, maybe we can hire a brainwashing expert and, you know, try to get her committed and then try to say that it's felony human trafficking. And her saying, right, whatever, to try to see if they can push back his hearing, whatever they can do to keep Javon on edge. This is all.
So they did all this, tried to commit you, get a brainwashing expert for you to then testify against your husband so that he would go to jail for how long? Would these charges stick if they were to be successful?
Not to testify, to get me not to show up. Because if I show up, I'm gonna tell the truth. So if they commit me, I can't show up, right? And so that was the intention. So it wasn't because she was concerned, people. We have the email proof of him saying, well, since we don't have probable cause and they don't want to charge him with a misdemeanor, DV, then let's have her committed and let's make it seem like she's crazy. And then let's pursue him for felony human trafficking. Felony human trafficking, you could get, if you can prove something like that, you can get over 20 years. But there is no evidence of human trafficking. It wasn't, we have 3 prosecutors.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so she said felony human trafficking get you over 20 years.
Yeah.
Now listen, I believe that she's taking her court to the New York District Court where they got Diddy at. And you know, that's what his charges are for trafficking and things like that. Wow. But listen, did you see how her mom was communicating with state officials and things like that, and they were able to investigate and get those emails?
Wow.
Do you think that Jay-Z and Rock Nation, do you think that Desiree sent the feds over there to P. Diddy?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
Get the heat off of Rock Nation and put it somewhere else? Oh, Diddy, you know, he does freak offs. He does this. Oh, he likes to get high, you know. Hey, go get him.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised.
It makes you think, because
Yes,
if
it
you
is.
think about it, they're both Sean. They're both their names is Sean. And guess what? When we talk about somebody getting to the top, let's talk about Jay-Z. Okay, so we're gonna end that situation right there. But let's talk about Jay-Z. Let's talk about let's talk about okay, Jay-Z. Okay, let's talk about his son and that whole debacle right there, right? I feel like with Raymere coming forward and saying, hey, I believe that this is my father and I want these tests done, this, that, and the third. I think that this is gonna wake it up for the industry.
Yeah.
This is definitely waking it up for the industry.
You know what? The whole damn industry is waking up. God is exposing all of these people because every time you look up and see, some people want to howl, or they just trying to take down a black man. They trying to take down a black man. No, no, no. Everything is not about taking down a black man. Some of these people are doing stuff behind the scenes. Okay? And what's happening is they being exposed. That's all. Some of these people been doing this stuff, and they being exposed now. It's not so much about taking down a black man, you know. It's the fact that some of these people are who they are, and they've been who they are, and they been exposed. Simple as that. And some people don't want to accept that, but that's what's happening. That is what's happening. We are in the era where things are starting to be exposed. The truth is coming out. The truth is coming out of everything. Just sit back and pay attention. The truth is coming out of everything. This thing with Tyler Perry. Now, it's been buzz about Tyler Perry for a long time. I know you remember, Queen, that it's been buzz about him
Yes.
a long time.
But I'm glad you brought that up, because let's just talk about that right quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no way I'm getting up in the bed with my man and he's been gyrating up in a dress. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I love my people, but this man, he plays that role entirely too well. And when you talk about these men that are coming forward, all these men somewhat look alike.
Yes. Yes, he has a thing. You know, he has a kind.
Uh-huh.
He has
He
a
definitely has a
flavor
type.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that.
I'm not feeling it. What goes on in the dark comes on out to the light.
Right. And
The,
see, can I say something right quick?
yeah, go ahead.
Listen, we gotta stop that. We gotta stop that. That's part of the reason why we in certain predicaments the way we are. Okay, as melanated people, we have to stop thinking that everything is about race or trying to take down a black man. Or you know what I mean? We gotta stop thinking like that. We have to stop thinking like that. We must start using our brain. Use your brain. We got to start using our brain and thinking for ourselves and stop jumping on the bandwagon of what other people are saying. All you got to do is sit back and think. Think. And I'm telling you, when you listen to what's being said and you sit back and think about it, I'm telling you, you're going to be able to connect the dots. You're going to know if it's some truth to that or not. You're going to know it. You see what I'm saying? But if you go into something and automatically you saying, "Oh, here they go trying to take down another black man. Here they go," and you're not really trying to see or listen to the evidence of what's going on, then yeah, because some people is part of the problem. Some people are part of the problem. When you go into something and the first thing you want to say is, "Oh, they trying to take down a black man. Here they go trying to take down another black man." Some of this is not about taking down a black man. Some of this is exposing people for who they really are. That's what it's really about. Exposing mother hubbers for who they really are. And my thing is, what trips me out is that some of us, we worship these people like they God. Some of us ain't never met these people a day in our life. We don't even know these people like that. But we worship them like they God. And it's sad and it's sickening. Because I'm like this. I'm standing with the victims until otherwise. That's just how I see. That's just how I feel. I stand with the victims until something else happens. I'm standing with the victims. Now, if something else happens and it lets me know that it's not true, then, I'll look at it a different way. But right now, listen, I think it's some more to this, and I'm gonna tell you something. I don't think it's finished. The snowball is just starting to form. And I think it's gonna keep rolling. And it's gonna keep rolling and rolling and getting bigger and bigger. Yes, I do. I think more and more people is gonna come out. Yes, I do. Because I think it's been going on a long time. I really do. And I could be ever so wrong. And if I am wrong, Queen Tulsa, I will come back on your show and apologize. I sure will. I will come back on your show and I will apologize and say, oh, I was wrong about this one. But it's strange to me that one person came out, then another person then came out. How many more people gonna come out?
You know what? That's a good question. Because when you think about Jay-Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I just kind of feel like even if they do go into court, I feel like there will be some favors being that Diddy is locked up. And I wouldn't be surprised if this camp that we're discussing has sent the feds information.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we look at this, when we look at Jay-Z and P. Diddy, they both want to be number one. Beyonce wants to be number one. Nicki Minaj wants to be number one. Megan Thee Stallion wants to be number one. But guess what? Wendy Williams was number one the whole time.
That's right.
It didn't have to be conniving against other people that did what she did in radio. She didn't have to be nasty towards them, you know?
Right.
She did her thing and was staying in her lane because the people that was gonna watch her was gonna watch her. And they messed up the game. These newcomers, these like Jay-Z and Diddy, they messed up the game. They destroyed the game. And when Nicki Minaj says, oh, he done messed up hip hop, he done messed up touring, because I saw Jay-Z on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour. Why was he there?
Right.
Why was he there? Go move around. That's Beyonce's tour. Let her do her thing. But he's still trying to find a way, trying to ease his way in to make himself look good.
Well, yeah, because listen, they say he need the money. They say he need that money. Because they said something about he tried to take out a loan, some type of big loan, but he was rejected. He was rejected. And they say that he need the money. He need this money bad. Mm-hmm. Yep. They say he need this money bad. Yeah, they say he tried to take out a big loan, but it didn't go through for him. So that's why Miss Carter hit the tour. That's why she ran that tour. Yeah, that's what was said. Did you hear about T.I. and Tiny?
I did hear about T.I. and Tiny. Listen here. When we talk about that group of people, listen, you got Jay-Z, P. Diddy, this Rock Nation brunch, all the Rock Nation brunch and everybody that was attended, everybody seems to be in court.
Yeah.
You know, we waiting on DJ Khaled and Rick Ross. You know, Rick Ross, you know, he's familiar with the police. He was a correction officer. I mean, come on now. And let's get into the way that oh shit. Let's see. Kanye West. How do you feel about him?
It's kind of hard to say with Kanye West because one minute Kanye is making sense, and then the next minute he's not making sense. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to say. I don't know if that's an act that he's putting on. You know, is he making people think that he's going off a little bit, or is it all an act? Is it all an act? Let me put it like that. Or is some of it legit and some of it's not? You understand what I'm saying? It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say about him because I get mixed feelings with that. I be thinking, that some of it is just him trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. Okay. And then some of it, I be like, Is he doing this because he want everybody to think that he's going through something? I don't know. I don't know. But it's something about that just is not it's just not connecting for me. You know what I'm saying? It's not connecting for me.
Well, let
He's
me just say this. He was connected with Jay-Z and he was connected with P. Diddy. And I just want to say, first of all, he said that Kim Kardashian was allegedly, pimping out. And we already heard stories of, well, actually, this is the facts. Chris Jenner had Kim Kardashian and Ray J to redo that tape. She watched it. You watching your daughter get hammered by a BBC.
what?
Yes.
Mm-mm-mm. Wow. I don't know. I don't know. It's just hard. It just seemed like I be wondering that if is these are these people doing this to try to keep us distracted from something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is they doing it to try to keep our vibration down? You know?
Girl, we got to keep our vibrations up. That's why we can't be looking and listening to every damn thing that's going on, Miss Lisa.
Hey, Tulsa, that's right. I don't even look at TV anymore. I've been stopped TV. I got rid of my cable, Yeah. Because like you said, we gotta try to keep it up as much as possible. And it's just so much negative stuff going on. And if you keep giving yourself, if you keep, allowing yourself to stay connected with that stuff, I'm telling you, it's gonna drag you down. It's gonna drag you down. It really is. Because it's just too much. It's too much of it going on at one time.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? So you have to be careful with it so that it won't cause you, drain you of your, you know, what I'm trying to say, your energy and your vibration and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Because when you keep looking at stuff that's negative, it's going to affect your mood. It really is. Let's be clear about it,
Absolutely.
you know? So, and I think sometimes I be thinking that's what it's done for. What you think?
You know what? Um, you just got to really be careful about
Mm-hmm.
what you intake, what you are taking in, what you're watching, what you're listening to,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that you are cleansing and meditating and keeping yourself keeping your vibrations up, to be honest. That's you know
Yeah, that's so
but
true.
but you just never know what type of things that people in,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
so you
indeed.
just gotta be careful out here.
Yeah, because everybody is saying like they into something.
Yeah. Well, when somebody be like, "Oh, well, God this and God that," well, what God you serve?
That's
What God are you serving?
right.
What God are you serving? Who are you serving?
Because I'm gonna share something with you. Right. I gotta be.
Couture Bay. Oh, Miss Lisa Couture Bay here. Hey Couture Bay. Hey babe. Listen, I'm glad you stopped through, honey. She was up. We up late night. What
Listen.
would you say, Miss Lisa?
I I I oh man, I lost my thought. You said something, and oh my goodness, what did you just say? You said something, and it made me think of something, and but then I lost my thought that fast. What did you say
We're
last?
talking about the Diddy and all them and things coming to pass and Um, girl, I didn't said a lot.
But you said something just now, and it brought a thought to my mind. I was getting ready to share it, and then it just went away, just like that. Dang
Oh,
it.
look, it's okay. It's gonna come back to you. Yes, but
But
no, we were talking about you don't know what God they serve. Thank you, Couture.
oh
About the
yeah,
God, like who you serving, and like these celebrities. Y'all out here worshiping them and putting them up on pedestals.
right, right. And let me tell you something. That's what
Thank
it was.
you.
That's what it was. I be reading the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
I be having a hard time connecting with the word, right? And I said, well, maybe it's something wrong with me. Maybe it's something wrong with me. I can't connect with it. What is going on? Right? But let me say this. I ran across a video and the guy was talking about the word being tampered with. Hello, somebody. He was talking about like seriously. Right, like right after this happened. I was reading the word, and right after that, I wasn't connecting to it. Some of it I connect to, some of it I'm having a hard time connecting to it. So that video popped up because I was sitting there and I was like, Lord, what's going on? Why I'm not connecting to the word like that? Right? The video said that the word has been tampered with. He said the King James version, and he ran down who the two King James was. Okay? Then he said, it's in you. It's in you. Everything you need to know, it's in you. The Creator put it in you. I said, wow. I just sat there, right? And I got emotional, right? But I just sat there, I just let it play out. Listen, that video just popped up out of nowhere. I wasn't looking, I wasn't searching, but it popped up. And I was just sitting there thinking, I said, Lord, why I can't connect to some of the word? What is going on with me? I can't connect to some of this. And he got on there, he was talking about King James. Oh, excuse me. He was talking about King James and who King James was. He was running it down. And he said, everything you need is in you. It's in your DNA, which I already knew that. I already knew that the word is in our DNA because God put it there, right? I already knew that. Excuse me. So that's why I've been having a hard time connecting with the word because the word has been stepped on so many times. Like the book of Eli is no longer in there. You notice that? The book of Enoch is not in the Bible. Have you noticed that? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah,
Oh,
I did. Yeah. Uh-huh.
hmm, it's not in there. So yeah, I was like, wow. I was like, thank you, Lord, because I thought something was wrong with me. But
Well,
that.
it's not only been tempered with, but it's been written so many ways. But
Hmm. Hmm.
that's a rabbit hole right there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So.
But listen, I feel like with all this industry stuff and
Hmm.
all this magic and stuff, I think because remember Jay-Z, he has this let me pull this up. Let me see. Jay-Z's witch. Let me see. Jay-Z's witch doctor. Oh,
Excuse me.
oh my goodness. So it was on here. Hold on. Uh, you know he's got a he's got a song called Lucifer, Jay-Z.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, hold on, let me see. So you got a song called Lucifer, but your name is Hove.
Mm.
Girl, they are playing with my internet service tonight. We rebuke that in the name of Jesus. Okay.
Amen.
What's that?
Yeah.
Let's
Wow.
come. So this is Jay-Z the Black Album, Lucifer, provided to you by YouTube Universal Music Group. Lucifer. Universal Music Group, Lucifer. Universal Music Group, Lucifer. Universal Music Group, Lucifer. Angie Stone.
I'm telling you, it's so much, so much, so much going on. Mm.
Okay, so I'm stuck on this. Okay, so his Black Album was provided to YouTube by Universal Music Group. Lucifer, the Black Album, 2003, Sean Carter Enterprises, LLC. I feel some type of way about this. Black Devil. Okay, so Jay-Z, the Black Album, and Lucifer is on there. So how I'm reading this is the Black Album, and he's got Lucifer on there. He's a Black Devil.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm not surprised at anything at this point. Seriously, not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. What was that song they was
Uh,
talking about that was by Beyonce where she was talking about she did something to the woman and then she was telling her, look what you made me do or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. And I was like, what? What is she talking about in this song? Like it sounded like it was a trip. Yeah. I was like, wow.
oh, shit. Okay. So Marina, okay, this is it. This is it right here. I'm about to bring this up. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna bring this up right quick.
In our investigation into whether Beyonce is a witch.
No, I want see how it's like doing all this extra right now?
Mm-hmm.
It's freezing up my computer. Woo, baby. Okay.
We still kind of came up empty-handed, which led us to another little piece of evidence. Boom. And that is the head Serbian BIC, Marina Abramovic. What is Abramovic? Now, this is not to be confused with another witch on this channel, Lima Yevremovich. I know the likelihood for confusion is uncanny, and Lima's mother's accent sounds uncannily similar. I'm talking, I could close my eyes, I wouldn't know who was talking. Listen, I can go public. My email become public. That's interesting to me. Anyway, Marina Abramovic alleges to be a so-called performance artist. And honestly, she may very well be, but It ain't no performance I ever want to go to or see or be around or experience in any way for any reason. It looks depraved. I'll just leave it at that. I rebuke. That's for entertainment, education purposes only. It's nasty. I hate watching her stuff. She's disgusting. She disgusts me. She is a grotesque and detestable individual. But anyway, so Marina has been prominently featured in at least one Jay-Z music video, and it is cringe and embarrassing AF. Like, I legit almost felt secondhand embarrassed for Jay-Z. Then I came to my... But that's not the only time he's been seen hanging out with her and, you know, their little crew that they hang out with. And I know you...
Yep. Wow. Ooh.
Miss Lisa, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let's just go ahead. Let's go ahead and thank everybody for coming by. Our show is like messing up right now.
Yes,
Um,
it is.
yeah, and it's
You know
thank
what you
you
can
all.
do? You know what you can do though? Take and when
No,
you
I want to get out of here. I want to
okay.
get out. Let's tell everybody thank you so much, and I'm gonna
Thank y'all
call you.
for tuning in. We're out. Peace
All right, love
out.
you all. Y'all make sure y'all go and follow Miss Lisa. I did put her link in the channel. It is in the description. But baby, Miss Lisa, you and I with the young and the old generations coming together, baby.
Yes.
Woo! I love you. Answer the phone.
Okay.